Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking to you about market analysis. Going to be doing our little introduction for our group. I'm going to be followed by Max, Keith, and Michael, and hopefully you guys will get something out of this, learn a little bit, or it'll refresh your memory, all that good stuff. So without further ado, we'll get started. So what is market analysis? Well, by definition, it's the process of determining factors, characteristics, and conditions of a market. So what that means for us in sales is that we're basically doing market research for our client. We're finding out what kind of competition they have in the area. We're finding out about, what radio station would fit their message the best, would allow them to reach the correct audience. So basically it's just, doing market research to find out, how best to serve our clients and how to get the message, the correct message about their business out to the correct target audience. So a little bit about the Triad market, our local market, which is comprised of Greensboro, High Point, and Winston-Salem. The designated market area rank, or the DMA rank, is number 46. That's where we come in. So the number of households in the designated market area is 690,050. The percentage of total U.S. households in the designated market area is 0.602. So these are the top 5 radio stations in the Triad market, and this is from a Biz Journals article from 2012. It was the most recent one I could find, strangely enough, so this is based on Arbitron ratings. So coming in at number 1 is 97.1 WQMG, which is an R&B station owned by Intercom. Number 2 is 102.1 WJMH, which is a rhythmic contemporary station, also owned by Intercom. WPAW 93.1 The Wolf, a country station, as we all know, that's owned also by Intercom. Number 4 is 104.1 WTQR, another country station owned by Clear Channel. And then at number 5, there's 99.5 WMAG, an adult contemporary station owned by Clear Channel. And I guess we can see how old this article really is by the fact that it's talking about Clear Channel rather than iHeartMedia. So that's a little bit interesting. So at one point in time, I did find a list of the top 3 television stations in the market. I'm not sure where that article went, but I did find a list of television stations just in general in the market, so I'm going to tell you guys about that. So it kind of encompasses all of them. So we've got WFMY, News 2, WGHP, Fox 8, WXII, as we all know, WGPX, WCWG, which is CW20. We've got WUNL, WXLV, which is ABC 45. We've got WMYV, My 48. And then there's also WLXI. So that's a huge list of lots of different television stations that are in our market. So the 3 big broadcast companies in our market are Intercom, iHeartMedia, and Dick Broadcasting. And that's all I have for you guys for my part of the market analysis presentation. Hopefully that was a little bit helpful. Kind of give you a little nice introduction to what everybody else is going to talk about. Give you kind of, a refresher on what market analysis is. And yeah, we're all going to do great on the test.
Hey, Max Whitehead here, and I'm here to talk about demographics and the role they play in broadcast media. Now, this is it's kind of a broad term, demographics, but it pertains to groups of people, individuals and groups that fall into a particular category for either media groups or businesses in general to determine who they should be talking to or who they should be trying to sell to. So, what is a demographic? This is the dictionary term, the statistical data of a population, especially those showing average age, income, education, etc. it's not only those. I mean, there's also gender and race and sexual orientation. All these things come into play when you want to sell. Because you need to know who you're trying to sell to make sure that you're actually going to sell something. It's a broad term for radio, but not so much with television. So that means that radio can target a lot more people with their programming as well as their advertisement. Because, say, classic rock, that falls anywhere between teenagers to, 50 or 60-year-olds. Like, that's huge. It's huge. And jazz is the same way. And top 40s, though mostly targeted towards younger people. I mean, the age range is still, early teens to early 30s, and that's a huge group of people that you can try to target. Now, television is a little different because television, you have to, make your programming specific to a certain group. Now, you have shows like The View that mostly targets women between, 20s or 30s to 50s or so, and that's a very specific group. And they advertise accordingly for that. And you have shows like, certain cartoons that are specific for an age range of children, and they can advertise accordingly for that. Say if it's a children's show for toddlers, then advertising is going to be more towards things that are specific for toddlers. So it gets very, very condensed when you try to make your demographic information for television as opposed to radio, where you can have a little more leeway. It can be a little more broad. Now, in media, as in all businesses, demographics are used to pinpoint potential audience growth and to spot underperformance. And that means if they're not selling a specific slot or they're not selling specific programming, they can find out why using demographics. Maybe they're not playing advertisements that are specific for a particular demographic, because you're not going to want to advertise maybe some sort of brand of prunes on Jersey Shore, because that doesn't make sense. You're not going to advertise a specific sports car on things like the MTV, things that people of that specific demographic aren't going to buy. So really have to make sure that if your advertisement is not working, if your clients are unhappy with the results, you need to go to the demographic info and make sure that you are targeting the right people. And here's an example with some magazines. Cosmopolitan, Women's Day, Better Homes and Gardens are all magazines that reach the female demographic. But beyond that, they target different types of women. You can get even more specific. Now, of course, not all women are the same in this example. You have, people like Cosmopolitan, which, can allow more risque or less decent things, less decent topics in their magazine, because that's who they're targeting, younger people or people that want to know that information. Whereas Better Homes and Gardens, they're targeting people that are a little bit more conservative, or people specifically women that are not interested in those more risque things, and same goes for advertising it for the magazine company in general. You know, Cosmopolitan, they're going to have more Victoria's Secret ads, or I guess they'll have more like makeup and things like that. Because that's who they're trying to target. It's people that will buy those things. Whereas it's Better Homes and Gardens, they're going to lean more towards, you know, home goods, or maybe different, you know, like more cooking recipes, or, you know, food brands, things like that. Because that's who they're trying to target. You know, people who do a lot of cooking at home, or people that want to spruce up their home, things like that. So it's all about figuring out who is consuming your media. Then you can advertise accordingly. Now, a TV station or network tracks its success using Nielsen ratings, which is a great source to find out, you know, who is watching what. Those ratings reports not only show the overall household numbers, they also break down the results by various demographic categories. And they use different electronic devices to record what programming you're consuming and what advertisements you're watching, and you know, you can always report back to Nielsen saying, like, this is what I watched, this is what I didn't, this is what I liked, this is what I didn't. And they take all that information and, you know, build statistics out of it to figure out exactly what they should be programming or advertising. Pretty neat. There are an infinite number of stories a news director could pursue, but when it comes time to make choices, demographics play a heavy role in deciding that. Yeah, so it's not only magazines, it's not only TV shows, it's not only radio, it's also news. News will also target demographics and what stories they put out. So if, say, Fox News and Daily, they're not going to report, you know, what this actor did and what this actor didn't do, things like that. They're going to, you know, be more on the political side of things, because the people that are watching Fox News want political news. And if you want to find out what, you know, music artist is doing what and what they're not doing, things like that, you're going to consume news sources like Rolling Stone, or, you know, things like that. So not only TV shows, not only radio, but also news directors figure out their demographics as well. And people will use demographic info to change their product. Also, media companies constantly modify their products and the way they are advertising to hit a certain demographic group. When you're launching your media product or evaluating a product that's been around for years, use demographic data as a yardstick for growth. Now, that means that people are constantly changing their image, they're constantly changing, you know, product details for different demographics. Because if one demographic isn't selling the product, then they need to make some changes. And once they start targeting someone else, maybe sales will go up, and that's all that matters. As long as more money is coming in, it doesn't matter who is buying it, they just need to make sure that they're targeting the right people.
All right, what's up, guys? I basically had the section talking about where to go to find out information, kind of to give to a client if they're looking to advertise and they're wanting to know, well, where do we go to get this stuff? Shout out to Annie. There. Shout out to Annie for uh, sending out this email, because that's where I got most of this information from, and she in turn got it from one of her buddies at Intercom. Let's see. So you look and you to a client and you tell them, let me zoom in here a little bit so I can see. But you tell them about, you know, how radio works, because radio, as you can see on this, there we go, on this screen, is that Radio and the demographic you want it to work in for sure. 18 on to 64 on to basically retirement age. well over 90% of people in the Triad area are listening to radio. Quite a few are also watching television, with the main one being in the kind of 18-year range, and then I guess it kind of peaks again in the 35 to 64 range. So radio works. That's why I have it in big letters up there. Radio works. Most successful platform on the target audience you want it to work for. And yeah, so you show them those numbers and they're going to be impressed with it. Show your client what's up, okay? Show them, gosh, I gotta zoom in. Gotta get some bigger glasses or something. But anyways, so let me widen this thing up. Sorry, guys. Okay, so show them what's up. Show them the age range, that good age range you want it in, which is 18 to 65. And you got quite a few people. Gosh, this thing is killing me. Well, let me zoom out and then zoom in. Okay, so you got your triad market. You got quite a few people of course, the majority in that 18 to 65 range. You got more males than females. That'll help them plan out their demographic, or who they want their target audience to be. It shows the race. I'm hovering over with my mouse. Shows their education range, so what they're willing to spend, or what their salary range is, so what kind of money they would have to be able to then go forward with their budgeting, and like how much they could spend on whatever product they're advertising for. And I'll zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see. You got your white collar, blue collar, all those types of things. Honesty, I think that's kind of a minimal thing right there. You got the home ownership. Owning is more expensive, well, at least in the long term, than renting. So 62% of people do that. So that's also, I would say, a good sign right there that they have money in their pocket, to kind of work with, to spend on. Show your client what's up, part 2. Okay, so that shows the household income, and this is probably a really important part here. So I'll zoom way in on that. Shoot. This mouse is just not one to cooperate. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Alright, so you got a good, well over 50%, probably 70% basically right there, that are making $35,000 on up. And then you got the employer industries, you got the healthcare, the education, restaurants. You can read that for yourselves. But that's just kind of showing what they're going to be spending money on. And so that'll also help them plan out. This is just really in detail to help people, especially advertisers, know what kind of stuff will and will not work. You got the home values. So that shows, again, the money range. And that could show whether they're wanting to buy a candy bar or, a motorcycle, whatever you want to advertise for. That'll help right there to kind of show what type of money they have, and, if they're willing to spend kind of either a few pennies, which is like the candy bar, or quite a few dollars, which is like going out and buying a motorcycle. So there's a pretty good range of everything in there, I would say. Their monthly rent, if they're renting, of course, the unemployment rate, which honestly isn't very high, because, it used to be around, like 7%, which is almost 2 times what most of that is right there. And then the retail spending power, you can read that for yourselves. That's kind of a minimal thing right there. Then we got the one and only Fraser Crane. I had a YouTube link on here. And I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to see if I can pull it up on the internet. Sorry, my nose is really stuffy today. But I'm going to try to pull it up on the internet for you guys just to save you a few steps. And I guess we'll watch the... Well, yeah, I guess I'd have to do that anyways, because it's not like I want you guys to watch the whole thing. But, shoot. I'm on my mom's computer right now, and it appears that she doesn't have a right click, so I'm going to have to figure something out. Maybe drag the link into Safari. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, let me turn the volume up. Okay, and it is, I believe, this first one. I think I'm still recording. Yeah. All right, so that bad boy right there. Little 1080 HD for you guys. There we go. All right, so. Oh yeah.
Hi, this is Drew Zagorski, and welcome to the Gray Matter Stream of Consciousness. We're going to start this segment by a little experiment. I'm going to show you a picture and then ask you to listen to a sound bite.
And real quick before he does go into it, so he's going to show the picture like he said, he's going to show the sound bite. What this is going to do is, like it says in the title, why radio advertising works. He's going to give you a great mental image of something compared to just looking at a picture of something, and how words really help sell a picture. So if they're still skeptical about the numbers and everything like that, show them this video or a video like it. You could even create a commercial of your own, and it's just supposed to show them, hey, we're good at our jobs. We can create this really good mental image without even really having to show visuals, or else if you're in the TV aspect, you can show them the picture or kind of talk about it. But he'll show you.
Go.
Okay, so there's a picture right there. Might look good to some, might look off-putting to others.
Roasted garlic, warm cheese, homemade tomato sauce. You can feel the weight of the ingredients on the crispy crust. The creamy texture of melted mozzarella peels away string by string, dripping with anticipated flavor. The aroma of fresh basil, oregano, and sausage emanates from the saucy slice, and you can almost taste it. Finally, you close your eyes and take it all in with one big, crunchy bite.
Alright, so that'll show them to get the mental image going. Sorry for going on for 8 minutes, guys. I know I probably wouldn't have talked that much if I was actually in front of the class compared to just the screencast, but I wasn't, clearly, since I'm not in front of you guys, I'm not able to be sure what you're picking up on, what you're not, so I'm trying to kind of spell things out a little bit more, but there you go, guys. There's that portion of mine.
Hello, my name is Keith Bradford, and today I'm going to be talking about elements of your feature presentation. So basically, I'm going to be talking about after you've done all your research, you've asked all the questions you asked the company, you got a feel for what they need. You come back and you give them a presentation on how you think you can help them through advertising. It has begun. The start of your presentation. Briefly review the advertiser your company is of choice is currently doing. And I want to also go over the problems that they mentioned. Hopefully you asked the right questions and you found out where their weak spots are, what they need help with. After you do that, go over your, what they're doing right, the type of advertising they're doing, and then expand on that. Going into expansion, you want to expand on great ideas. Take the avenues advertising the company is currently doing and give examples on how best to expand on the current plan. Essentially, if the company, all they're doing is social media, or they have an ad in a paper, explain to them how they can expand on what they're already doing. Maybe put out a bigger ad, maybe advertise in more papers. Social media, hit up some more social media sites. Maybe have someone strictly working with social media to keep their name out there in the streets. Whatever it takes to expand, maybe that's the route you want to take. This is a personal preference. The competition. Who is the competition? What are the competitors doing to advertise their business? What aren't the competitors doing to advertise? Again, another personal preference. I want to say that what I'm doing here is not necessarily set in stone. There's many different ways you can go about it. You have to cater your presentation to who your company is. Me personally, I don't think it's such a bad idea to kind of give them an idea of who else is out there that could be potentially taking away their business. And what are they doing? Maybe there's something that you can get in on too. So that's what I would do. Just have a few facts, a few things to say that these are the people that are in the same field of business as you, and they're in the same kind of radius as you. Y'all overlap, as far as how close you are, if that's the case, and then explain what they're doing and explain why you need to do more in order to keep up and surpass your competition. Advertise on the radio. Break down the top 5 radio stations in the market, then explain the 3 radio stations. Then explain the 3 radio stations you suggest they advertise on and why. Then, if you want, you can explain about the 2 radio stations you didn't choose and why. That may be a question they have, so you should have an answer for that. So basically, you've done all the research and you find out these are the top radio stations in the market. This is where they're going to get the most mileage from their advertising that you're going to suggest that they do. This is going to reach the most ears, it's going to reach the most ears the most days at the best times. So, and then explain to them why the other 2, maybe the other 2 doesn't fit the format of their company. Or could it just be, I don't know, it could be whatever the reasons are. But you should have an answer if they ask why you didn't choose those. So, same thing for television. Advertising on television. Inform the potential client of the top 5 television stations in the market. Explain the 3, and then tell about the other 2 that you didn't choose. Same deal. Which TV stations do you see a spot for this company running on and getting the most out of it? That's what this is about. Breaking down radio and television, the best stations that you could see their company being advertised on and making an impact on their business in a positive way. But again, you're going to want to have examples or an explanation of why you did not choose the other 2. Excuse me. Now, for shits and giggles, advertising on social media. Social media is a huge part of society today and is a great resource to use for advertising. What are the best social media sites for business and advertising? So I want you to take a look. You see the images behind me. There are a lot of social media sites out there. A lot. Like Flickr. Of course, Facebook, Instagram, Foursquare. I've never heard of Foursquare. Then you can see you got Yelp, Pinterest, Flickr. And again, like I said, maybe your company is doing advertising on social media, but maybe they're like me and never heard of certain social media sites. This is a chance you kind of expand the horizons. Look into these different social media sites and say, hey, there's an opportunity here. You're supposed to find opportunities that they can't find or they don't think of. You're problem solver. Solve the problem. If they're only advertising on Facebook, get them on Twitter. If they're only advertising on Twitter, get them on Facebook. If they're only advertising on Twitter and Facebook, get them on Pinterest and etc., and so on and so on. Lots of social media sites, free advertising. So why not use it? It's a great resource. Advertising proposal plan. Radio, television advertising plan that you have come up with for the company. Include what radio stations and television stations you suggest they advertise on and how much it would cost. Have a different options available for the client to look at. This is the fun part. This is where you get to talk about the money. So this is where you come up with your plan. This is where you use the rate card, come up with an advertising plan. A 30-second spot, 4 days a week, 60-second spot, 3 days a week, or 4 times in 1 day, or whatever it is. Totally based on how much money that company is willing to spend. And from that, once you know how much they're willing to spend, how much they have to spend, you can come up with an adequate plan or a perfect plan for their advertising needs. But you want to come with more than a couple of options, maybe 3 or 4, just so they can really see what they have available to them. You want to explain what's going on with the rate card and the plan so they can make an educated choice for their business. Because even though you know quite a bit about it, doing your, investigation and asking them questions, they really truly know what they can spend and what they can afford and still be good to go. So do that for television and radio. You want to have the best options possible, and you want to just throw it out there, what they need and this is what it's going to cost. What you feel like, and see, that's the thing. You know about the radio business. You know what's going to work. As far as if they only advertise like twice every other day, that's not enough. You should know what it would take to really start to see a change in their business, to see a growth. So for that one, you really have to be confident in knowing what you're going to talk about. Negotiation and closing. All media selling is based on negotiation. The object of negotiation is to close a deal, to get an order. So negotiating and closing are one step. Remember, you're selling yourself as well as your plan and your company. Because something to think about, you nail this presentation, they might go throw your name to like an affiliate or a company that they also work with. And one way you can look at it, you're auditioning for future clients. So it's important that you nail this down. Okay? So this is where you start talking about what you feel would be best for them. This is where you close. Ms. Moore said that a lot of times salesmen, they get all the way up to this point and they don't close. You need to close. ABC, always be closing. You ever seen Glenn Ross? You know exactly what I'm talking about. This is where you put all of that together and you bring it home. How you do that? Well, that's up to you. There's plenty of ways I imagine that you can do it. I can't give you one set way, but this is the part that is the most important for you, to bring the business home. You won't have to do all of that homework, all that investigation, questions, late nights drinking stale coffee. You don't want to basically do all that work for nothing. That's all I'm saying. This is where you bring it home. Close the deal, bring the money home. How you do that? There's lots of different ways. But if you've done your homework and you have been very vigilant in getting the right information to the company, came up with a nice proposal plan, something that they can get on board with, you should be good. That's where it starts, is doing the homework, doing the digging, investigating, and looking into things, and figuring out what would best work for their business. You do all of that, you should be fine. But at the end, that's the end of my presentation. That is features of a presentation, not the presentation. That, like I said, it's all up to you. However you want to do it, whatever elements into the presentation you want to bring it. Just be prepared. But this was more or less a way to go about it after you've done the market analysis. It's the final stage of market analysis. This is the end game, the Super Bowl, playoffs. And I think I'm done talking now. My name is Keith Bradford. Again, this has been elements of a feature presentation. And thank you for your time. Goodbye.